dog. She's not been feeling well the past 2 days. Why do you feel bad, dog? And let him know. We were on a hike, and, well, man, this place is a mess. Basically, oh, it's a mess because he got on the bed. Well, I forgive you. Basically, she's 12. She hasn't really hiked in about a year and a half, 2 years. And we unfortunately went on a hike that was a bit too intense for her. It was really hot that day, 38 degrees, and there was a lot of rocks. So I think that combined with the distance, which was only I think it was a total of only 2 hours of actual hiking. That was just too much for her though. So her paws hurt, and I've been giving her a break the past 2 days. And today we hit the road again, but we're gonna go straight back to Belgrade. I might go to a hike in Montenegro, but I'll keep her in the van. Let's give her a break. I think I've learned my lesson with her. She's older now. She just can't handle long, treacherous journeys, especially with like rough terrain. It's okay. I think any pet owner, their goal should be to one day have a pet that can't do everything. Right? You want your pet to live long enough to be elderly. So she's elderly now. She doesn't look like it, Madra. She doesn't look like it, but she's an old girl. She enjoys AC. She enjoys chilling, and she's a great cuddle dog. But she's not climbing any mountains anymore. Good morning, good morning. I think we should take a little walk. Walk and talk about what? I think we should talk about expectations as a privileged Westerner when visiting Eastern European, Asian, or really just any region of the world where the cost of living is lower, or the PPP, because is it PPP or is it PPI? Whatever, whatever calculation it is to determine whether or not what current income you have, what equivalent of that is in another place. When I'm traveling, oftentimes in Europe, I meet Europeans, say French, who, well, I'm saying French because of a certain situation, who have this expectation to come to Albania. Look at this. Beautiful. Look at those mountains, the nature, the car yard. It's a good example, though, of what this country really is. You know, people, they really make shit work. They struggle, but they really struggle hard and well. This place I'm in at the moment is Skoda. Skoda has a average income monthly of about 300 euros. The average person struggles, but they struggle well, they struggle hard, they make it work, they get reasonable accommodation, or they stay with family, they work all fucking day at their jobs. You don't see young people walking down the streets around here during the day because they're working. Older people maybe are the ones lounging having coffee, but that is not the majority population. So this is a scenario, this is the setting. You live in a place like this, you're making it work, you're proud, you're a hard worker, and Skoda, just like every other city in Albania, for the most part, runs on tourism, which means that a large amount of people come and feel obliged to some capacity to relax. That's the fucking point of a vacation. You want to be relaxed, you want to be comfortable, you want to get something that you're not getting back home, which usually, not in France entirely, but usually on a vacation means closer to nature. It means some sort of serendipitous feeling tranquil, right? It means relaxing in rivers. It means having many beers, too many beers. It means having new food and trying new ways to try that new food. And these tourists I come across quite often seem to be lacking one thing that's very important. And this is going to sound controversial for someone that lived in their van for a year in Germany. People like the French tourists I met last night are deathly afraid of spending $1 on the local economy. €1. And I wonder why. Like, I know for a fact the amount of money it took just to pay for the gas to drive your little minivan from Nice to here was well over $1. Way over $1. Yet you seem completely disinterested in putting any money into the local economy of the places that you go to. So let me give you some explanation of the scenario. I'm sitting there speaking with the owner of this, you could say, RV park / camping ground. Beautiful spot. You just saw a little bit of it. These nice little teepee houses, a few cheaper rooms in like a normal brick home, a huge teepee house for the rich families, and even an RV lot. If you have your own vehicle, you can sleep in it. So price options for every type of person. I think it probably goes as low as 15, 20 euros a night, which try to find a place in France, even rural France, that costs that much. And I'm sitting there drinking a beer, speaking with the owner about just life in Albania, and he wants me to write a book. And I would actually love to write a book about this region. It's beautiful. Between the hiking here, the history, the way people are, this multiculturalism, at least when it comes to religion, it's quite fascinating. Nevertheless, we're chatting. This couple approaches him, and they're hungry. Okay, he has a restaurant. It's a great restaurant. It's very simple Albanian food. It's nothing, this is not Michelin star, but it doesn't need to be, right? That's not what you're paying for. And the prices are very reasonable. So this couple sits down, a younger man, a younger woman. So they sit down and they're looking for something to eat. And they try to get something that the chef doesn't have. They wanted some shrimp. And I was thinking to myself, you come to Albania, you come to Shkoda, a region known for its rivers that has a lot of carp. Why not try the carp? It's kind of this like the meal that men have with their children, their family, to like show, hey, look, I'm providing. We're going to be well fed no matter what, because this river is flowing with fish. And so I suggest to the couple, like, hey, you all should definitely try the carp. And they kind of look at me a bit perplexed. But they're like, they take my opinion. They're like, okay, thank you. So they order a carp. And then the owner kind of gives me this face, like a disappointed face. And then they go off with their one water, I guess you could say like a glass of wine, and the carp order. He sits down with me after they kind of go off to their car, and he's like, they just ordered one serving of carp, one water, which they complained about the price of, and one glass of wine. Now the problem with this is, well, you only get 2 fillets of carp. It's not like a ton of fish. I need to see where I am right now. I'm walking through the streets, but I have no idea where I'm going, but I think I need to get coffee. So it's 6:40 in the morning. It's unlikely I'll find coffee at this hour, but it's not impossible. Okay, keep going straight. So yeah, they order a serving of carp, 2 fillets, which for one person is fine. You get 2 fillets of fish, maybe order some potatoes or some salad, and you're a happy camper. And he's like, they only ordered 1 serving for 2 people. They complained about the price of the water, which was like 70 cents in euros. And if you really consider the convenience of it, it should be way more. You go to any of these little corner markets in Albania and you'll spend 70 to 80, maybe $1 for a water. It's because it's a convenience store. And at the camping ground, it's a convenience to have the food there and not have to leave the area to do anything. So they complain about this. And then on top of that, they start asking questions like, hey, what can we do in the area? Can he like set up a tour for us? Blah, blah, blah. We want to go see this and that. And he's nice. He's a very nice guy. He's a young man, about the same age as me, maybe even younger. I'm 31. And he gives them some information, but he doesn't give them too much. He's like, hey, look, I'm kind of busy right now, but here's some information of where you all should go and who you should speak to. And there's a tour bus that comes. They can pick up to go to these places. It's very affordable. They're professionals. So they kind of push back. They're like, oh, well, we don't really want to do the tour bus because it's going to cost so much money. Can we just take a normal bus? And so he's like, well, you can take a normal bus, but these normal buses, the one you're talking about, it's not actually legal. So if the police catch you in this bus, they give you a ticket. And they didn't seem to care. They're like, okay, well, the normal, this like private bus that's not legal costs like €5. The formal bus costs 30. So we don't want to spend the extra money to get the full service. We just want to spend the $5 to get there, and we'll figure it out. Cheap asses. So he goes about, chatting with me, and they go about eating their food. And then there's another problem. This is the thing about hospitality. It's the reason why I never worked hospitality, because when you work hospitality, you have to be kind to the biggest assholes. And these 2 people, who at a glance you would think are kind of like progressive-minded, lefty young folks, were fucking assholes. And they were complaining that the fish that they got, they didn't get enough utensils to eat the fish, nor did they get anything with the fish, like, fries, potatoes, or whatever. Well, they didn't order anything with the fish. The menu simply said fish. It didn't say fish with extras, fish with salad. And then specifically on the menu, certain other items did say salad or potatoes. So you get the expectation that some things come with things and some things aren't a full meal in that sense. Well, they seemed very offended by that, and they had to make a complaint where they noted, hey, it's normally like, I guess you could say polite. Oh, by the way, it did come with bread. It did come with homemade bread, a big loaf of homemade bread. So if you're looking for your starch, if you're looking for your carbs, you get that in the bread. Enough bread for 2 people, and then the carb. And he starts to talk to this guy as if he's a child, telling him, oh, this is how things are done in France, so you should do things here. This is just like proper etiquette, and we didn't have enough utensils. Well, motherfucker, you eat the carp with your hands. So this is a cultural thing here, and other places too. Carp has a lot of bones, so you just eat it with your hands to avoid the trouble with a fork or a spoon or something. So this was, I guess, illogical for this man. And so he and her complained about this. Really silly business. And they proceed to kind of school him. And then he walks away. He complains to me about this. We were just chatting. He felt comfortable consoling to me about these issues. And that led us and myself to kind of just keep a happy smile with these people until they parted ways. Well, here's the thing. They didn't part ways. They didn't just leave for the afternoon or evening. They were asking for free accommodation. Yeah. In a business, a small family business, where there's a young man providing for 4 other people, his family members, a house he has somewhere else, and to pay for all the cost of maintaining this campground, which, by the way, he has to pay the government, private businesses, and the mafia just to keep alive. They want free accommodation in a place where people make 300 euros a month on average. France makes over 2,000 euros a month on average, like 2,200. They wanted free accommodation. This pisses me off. Why is it so many Europeans feel so entitled to take so much from people who have so little? As if when they had these colonies around the world, they weren't bad enough. I think it's tragic. I think it's just this continuation of this colonial mindset that you can go from somewhere so privileged to a place that's so underprivileged and still take from them. Like when you go on vacation to Thailand or Bali and you run into an American or an Australian or a British person who's like living on the street begging for money, not even playing a damn instrument or making jewelry. They're just bumming it out, hoping people feel bad for them, hoping for the good grace of others. Well, come on, Bob, Joe, Sally. You're in Bali. You come from a place, well, the monthly welfare checks are more than the average income for an engineer. What are you doing? Go home. Same for this couple. Like in a place where people struggle every day, lucky to work 8-hour shifts if they can, you're asking for free accommodation in a campground where the minimum entry to just sit there and camp for the night is no more than 15 or 20 euros a night. You want free accommodation. What is wrong with you? It's absolutely bizarre. I don't understand this mindset, but that's how some people are, it seems. This is a very common behavior, though, I see all over the world. Albania, Macedonia, Greece, further out of Europe and Africa, definitely in Southeast Asia. That has been like a haven for broke travelers. And look, this is coming from somebody who was very poor growing up. I was homeless at times when I was young. And then as I grew older and finally came into myself, I still had money troubles. I couldn't figure out how to spend money properly, manage my own money. Eventually I got good jobs and, I worked myself out of debt. I lived in my van for a year. I struggled, right? And I'm finally at the place now where struggling is optional. And I do so respectfully. So will I stay in my van for a few nights? Sure. But then I go to a place to camp out or to have a nice little teepee house for me and my dog to recover her paws from a long hike. And I pay for it, right? I drink plenty of beer. I eat plenty of food. I support this guy. I support the locals. We're just trying to get by. But you can't say the same for a lot of others. Maybe it's because I know struggle. And I come from a place where I'm also marginalized. Albanians aren't exactly the most respected community in Europe. Neither are black folks. So my perspective on these things are different. I don't go to a poor man's home and beg for free stuff, almost demand for free stuff, because they know the consequence of not helping you. When you have a business like this, when you have a small business like a camping ground, and you say no to somebody, even when they're asking for free stuff, the consequence could very well be they give you a bad review. So you understand that, you have that anxiety about that, and it's not like it doesn't happen. We were talking about how that very thing does happen, where people expect free things like touring or free accommodation, and if you don't provide it, then they just leave you a bad review on Booking or whatever other website. So you have to deal with the consequences of a negative review because some person was trying to get good on you, trying to get up on you. That is absolutely insane behavior. It's so sad that these same people probably hang out in cafes, wherever they come from, chatting to their friends about how liberal they are and how woke they are for traveling to these poor places. Ciao, ciao. Yeah, these guys love to see me. But, I can't imagine being that person, being that individual that feels they're so justified in themselves and existing in all spaces and just taking. It's so tragic. Nevertheless, this is life. If you're one of those travelers, if you've ever been one of those travelers that decides, you know what, I'm living good, I'm gonna save some money this summer, winter, spring, I'm gonna go drive my van with my partner to Albania and hang out in cities and hang out and go hike on mountains, but I'm not gonna give shit to others. Think twice about it. Just give back to these people that try so hard to accommodate you for what little they have. Just do good to others as you want done to yourself. Basic biblical stuff here, all right? Or maybe we need to bring back Hammurabi's code, all right? Start chopping off some hands. Maybe then people start thinking differently about their behavior. Personally, I've always had this philosophy. I think we need to legalize punching people in the face again. Nothing else, no shooting, no stabbing, just punching in the face to really get the point across sometimes. Because sometimes when you see things like that, you know they need a good slap, a good French slap too. Okay, that's the end of it. I need to get my coffee. I'll chat with you guys later. Just little rants I wanted to have after dealing with some nonsense today or yesterday. But I'm happy now. I'm here in Albania for a few more hours. I'm gonna hit the road to Montenegro, do some hiking, and then make my way back to Belgrade. But I'm sure you all will see me soon.